Smart Alec Show podcast.
Smart Alec Show, baby!
Now you worked a few internships in finance, and as a fellow minority, as a young black man, how is it working in that competitive space of corporate America, man? Because it's not only like corporate America, it's a competitive space, you know, specifically at the Goldman Sachs, one of the most respected investment banks and financial services companies globally. Have you ever like felt imposter syndrome or out of place? And like, how have you overcome these feelings and persevered to, you know, achieve success the way you have, man? Because you've obviously killed it.
Not yet. I think that's a great question. And imposter syndrome is something I'll start with. And I think that's the first thing I felt, right? I remember first summer interning. So we had 3 days of training before you actually like hit your desk. So at training, it's a good opportunity to meet, you know, a lot of the different interns. And obviously you come in and you realize, okay, there's me. And then there's like, you're looking around for like other like minorities, et cetera. And you realize, okay, there's really not that many of us. Okay. Secondly, you start speaking to other individuals because obviously like, that's not the biggest thing. Everyone is a unique individual. You want to connect. And everybody I met, they're like, oh yeah, I go to Brown, like I go to Cornell, I go to Harvard. And I'm like, yo, like, I go to like a CUNY school, like my little state school. So I'm like, ooh, we start talking a little more. And I remember they're like, oh yeah, like we're going to the lake house. I'm like, yo, like I didn't have my own bedroom till I was like 18. So like, what do I even talk to these people about? So like, it was like at first, like imposter syndrome, like it was really like almost setting in. Cause like, I really felt like I did not belong ultimately. Cause you know, like you're seeing all these big name schools, you're hearing about people's different past experiences. But at the end of the day, I think what saved me is remembering like, no matter where a person came from, where they are, we're still at the same spot right now. So that was always my thing. I was like, okay, cool. At the end of the day, we're still doing the same position. We're still about to get paid the same. And the only thing that's going to distinguish us is who performs better. And like you mentioned, it is a very competitive space. And I feel like as a minority coming in, we always do feel like, okay, we do have to work like 1.5, 2 times harder than our peers in order to kind of like stand out. So that was always my thing coming in. I'll say once I did hit the desk though, I want to say like I felt supported. So at the firm specifically, I know they had a program where essentially they would partner you with a VP mentor who would touch base with you and you could talk to them about literally anything. And they would touch base with your manager as well to make sure kind of like your reviews are accurate. So for example, when I came in, I met my VP and we really hit it off. Like I could talk to her about anything. And I remember I was like, okay, cool. My first week, I was like, yeah, like my manager, like we covered some stuff. I asked for additional work, but he didn't really have anything to give me. She was like, okay, she took notes. So then when my kind of review session came back and my manager was like, oh, I forgot what my manager had said exactly, but my VP stood up from me and she was like, no, that's incorrect. You did not give him enough to do. It's not that, like, you know, I think in that aspect, the firm did a good job. I don't know. Like, I want to say like, it definitely, I'm going to go back real quick because I feel like I might have strayed away from my original point. I think as a minority, it is tough, but it's also reminding yourself that like at the end of the day, regardless of what anybody tells you, you belong where you are and you probably like you've worked your butt off. Ultimately, my experience as like a Black individual was very positive. One of my biggest fears coming in was my hair. Cause like you see my hair right now, I got my twisted. And like at the time, like I didn't have the twist, but I had like the large like fro type. So I was okay. I was like, oh, like I wonder how they're gonna judge me for that.
Yeah.
But I did not want to be fake to myself. Like I remember some of my friends, my mom was like, yo, cut off your hair like the day before your internship. And I was like, nah, that's not really me. Like I think what's important is no matter what you're doing, bring your genuine self because it shouldn't matter if people feel uncomfortable at the end of the day. Because we're gonna come in, we're gonna perform. They should feel uncomfortable because if by them feeling that uncomfort, it goes away rapidly. So if someone doesn't feel comfortable initially, give them time and they'll feel comfortable with you. And that's how we make paths for like those students coming up behind us, I feel like. So I feel like that was always like kind of my big thing. I'm not sure if I really touched upon it as well as I wanted to, but feel free to like kind of ask additional questions to like flesh that out, I suppose.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. No, that was an awesome job of telling your story, bro. Like the imposter syndrome, and I think a good point you made at the end there, bro, is like, why should you make yourself feel uncomfortable, make yourself feel like you're being someone that you're not, just to make others feel comfortable? You know, like at the end of the day, like all parties involved, or it's good for everyone involved to kind of break out of their comfort zone a little bit, grow a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like you're doing so by staying your true self and going into a new environment and staying true to who you are, and they're doing it by like becoming comfortable with someone they're usually not used to being around, or a different culture or hairstyle. You know what I mean? So like respect to you for keeping the flow. You know what I'm saying? Rocks, yeah. Like that brings me like, do you remember Jay Sultan? He was also an MLT.
Not too sure. I'm really bad with the names, honestly.
Yeah. So he told me an interesting story at when he was at Procter & Gamble, like how he would keep his earrings in. He'd keep them in his ears, and he was like, I thought about taking them out, but I was like, this is just me. It's who I am. And he was like, you know what? People respected me 2 times more for staying true to myself, not changing my accent, my lingo. Obviously keeping it professional, but like, not trying to be fake to fit in. Because he was like, I was with another dude who was also like another minority. He like completely changed the way he talked. You know what I mean? He went into like that super like customer service voice. You know what I'm saying? So I think people in the end will respect you more for being you and being fake. So mad respect, bro. Mad respect. And then like on the imposter syndrome stuff. So I didn't feel that at ESPN because I was in a virtual aspect. And I think because I'd already learned how to deal with those emotions before, but like I started off in a small community college, like in Dallas, right? It was like a low income community college, like a lot of minorities, like very low retention rate, very low transfer rate. You know what I mean? So I had balled out there, like not to like sound cocky or anything like that. Like I worked really hard because I wanted to get into UT's business school, right?
Yeah.
So when I finally got in, it was like going from 100 to 0, because it's like you go from being like one of the hardest working, smartest dudes at the community college to being like absolute imposter syndrome when you get to university. So everyone I encountered was like, oh, I was a valedictorian in my class. I was a salutatorian in my class. I was this percent. I was that percent. And I was like, bro, I was like 50% in my high school. I don't even remember. You know what I mean? So it was like, damn, bro. So at first I'm like, shit, like these are some smart people. Like I like it, whatever. Feel a little bit out of place, but whatever. But then when I got into the classroom, it was like people were like super uptight. Like I'll never forget. I had an 8 a.m. on a Monday. A statistics class, like business statistics, and we're learning about like T-stat, Z-stat, all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm talking about? That terrible shit. So like there's this dude who sat in the front of the room. He was like all spiffied up. He had his like golden plated name tag, and he's like everything. He like knew the answer to everything. I'm like, damn, this is what it's like, huh? Because this is my first class at the university, bro. 8 a.m. And I started to notice everyone around me is like super like they don't want to work together. They're like super like, oh, this class is graded on a weighted GPA scale. So it's like the class average has to be a 3.0 to a 3.2. So it's like you're competing for a limited number of A's in the class. And because at the end, everyone's going to be like rounded up and into like 3.0, 3.2. So I started to notice like, damn, everyone here is kind of like being an asshole. Like they don't want to help out. They don't work together. And then like in group presentations, it's like people are asking questions to grill the other group. So they look like they don't know what's happening. Like one of my buddies told me that in his class, it was like a group did a presentation over, I think it was Tesla. This was 2 years ago. And something huge in the news had just emerged for Tesla within the past 20 minutes that there's no way they could have known or prepared for because they were presenting. And homeboy just asked them, and he's like, okay, well, how is this going to affect their business, this and that, just to like grill them, bro. So the professor would think like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. So like just little like shady stuff like that, little like snobby things were going on when I first transferred. In addition to me like struggling with the class material because of like the rigor from community to like a top business school, like that uptick in workload like really hit me hard. It took me a second to adjust, and part of it was me like I shouldn't have signed up for as many tough classes because like I said, I was going from like 100 to zero because like I was like, oh, I could accomplish anything. I balled out over
Yeah.
here. And like I can keep the momentum going. Nah, bro. Should have humbled yourself. Should have taken it a little bit easier. Had a little bit too much dip on your chip. You know what I'm saying? So it bodied me hard, bro. Like academics, just like everything I love to do. Like I like to like, you know, play sports, work out. I didn't have time for it anymore because I was struggling to, you know, survive in the academic environment. And then that affects social. So it was like I just got bodied hard with imposter syndrome. So like I'd learned ways to get through that in terms of just remembering who you are, like just finding things to really ground you and get your balance back. Like, who am I? What do I do? Just remembering, like you said, like you belong here. We all came from different backgrounds and environments, but at the end of the day, you're here. You're here for a reason. You earned it. So just remembering that to get through imposter syndrome, man, like that's huge. Just remembering, like, no matter where we came from, like we all here. We all earned it one way or another, bro. And yeah, respect to you for getting through it, bro. Respect to you. So there's never been an instance, bro, where like like something was said or something like that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there has.
Okay.
I think what surprised me the most though was that it didn't come from the professionals. It actually came from the interns.
I expected that, honestly.
So I honestly didn't. I thought it would be a bit more different. I think coming into the bank, I always had this perception that, oh, like people at Goldman Sachs are very snobby, etc. Which I have to say, like coming in, it was the exact opposite. Like the professionals there, everybody is literally just like, yo, bro, like how can I help you? It honestly caught me off guard. That incident though occurred where, so obviously group of interns, it was when we had, our internship was in person. So obviously everyone's trying to get to know each other, etc. And obviously like, people are drinking, whatever, so things are being said. And I remember like I was connecting with one of the interns, and I remember what he was saying, and he was like, "Oh, but don't lie, you know, it was so much easier for you to get in here than it was for me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "You know," and I was like, "Nah, I really don't know." He was like, "You're black, so like they're always just gonna like give you the role." And I honestly never felt so insulted before because I felt like, first off, like, you don't know what I've been through. Like, you're just assuming that, like, oh, like, this role was handed to me. Like, obviously, like, you don't know my background. Like, you mentioned, like, the struggles I've gone through, both within the university, the leadership I've had to display, etc. And then he said that, and I was just like, it honestly just threw me so off guard. And it was the first time, like, in that environment, that something was just, like, said like that. And he was like, oh, yeah, don't be offended, but you know it's true. And I was just like, like, I laughed it off.
Yeah.
But it honestly like really hurt to like hear somebody say that to me. For sure. I think outside of that though, yeah, it was always like little things. I'd say within the interns. And obviously a lot of them are also coming from, you know, environments where maybe they hadn't had too much interaction with like someone like me, for example. So like I kind of tried to understand things from both perspectives, but that one really stuck out for me 100%.
Damn.
And outside of that though, like I'd say like just working at the firm myself, it was always like literally positive. I remember like one day, like I said, I actually did my twist and I came into work and my manager was like, oh shit, like, yo, bro, like that's fire. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I was like, I wasn't going to come in like this. He was like, bro, like, I don't care what you're doing. Like, just, is the work getting done? Yeah. And I was like, obviously. And he was like, all right, so you're good. So like within like the more professionals at the firm, it was always good reactions. But I think the interns kind of threw me off to a degree.
Damn, bro, that's what's up that your manager, like, you know, gave you that confidence to, like, come in and be yourself. That's what's up, bro.
Honestly, I think that's something. Oh, my bad. What were you saying?
No, you're good. I was gonna say that stings though, like that a fellow intern would take a shot at you like that. You know what I mean? Because like I, like yourself, you know, like you hear little comments here and there, but like one like directly like that's tough. You know what I mean? Like, how do you have the audacity to say something like that? But that shows a lot about your maturity and the way you think, the fact that you're trying to take a position of like trying to gain perspective and empathize with like, okay, maybe this dude hasn't ever interacted with people in environments, you know, like where I'm at, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you took the high road says a lot about you, bro, because like that's a fucked up comment.
Nah, bro, I was like,
that I felt that, bro. Like that stings. Like that people really think that they'll look at you after all the hard work you've done and you know how hard it's been on you. You know what I mean? Like some stuff that the outside world will probably never know. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they really think that you just got it because you're a minority. Like, come
Yeah.
on, bro. And then people think the same thing about scholarships and about all sorts of things too. They're like, oh, you only get it because you're a minority. Like, no, like you gotta work hard, bro. If it were that easy, like every
Everybody,
minority would
exactly.
be in this position. You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously still a competitive pool to get into, and there's hurdles, socioeconomic hurdles that I had to go through that maybe you didn't go through because of my skin color. So I think that maybe it's even the opposite of what he's saying, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe it's even more respect to you that you got a role given that you're a minority. You know what I mean? So it's a fucked up comment, bro. Respect to you for taking the high road, man.
Always.
That
How it is,
out,
honestly.
man.
I'm like so big on, and I really appreciate my mother for raising me this way. Like, I'm so big on this positive energy, bro. I just want to make everyone feel as good as possible. And like, if you send negative energy towards me, that's you taking your time to put that negative energy out. I'm gonna always like stay positive and like just stay good.
No doubt. No doubt. It says a lot about the person, bro, when they take time out of their day, out of their limited amount of energy to really try and put some bad vibes onto you into the world. Like, what does that say about you? Like, are you, threatened by, my charisma or how good, my confidence, how good I feel about myself? Like, like that just speaks to your own insecurities. So I'm with you 100% there, bro. Like, that's how I was raised too. It's like life is short, and you just gotta enjoy it, man. You gotta do you and just grind. You know what I mean? So, mad respect, bro. Dude, that's what I noticed about you and the other Baruch guys, man. That's why I really vibe with y'all when like we went to play basketball and everything. Like, you guys are like, seems like y'all are a tight knit group. Like, I don't know if it's because it's like, y'all all interact a lot because you said the college is smaller, right? But like, y'all all were like just laughing, like good chemistry, charisma, bro. I really vibe with it, bro. So. That's why I was like, Mayor be a good dude to bring on the pod. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that, my guy. But nah, yeah, it's honestly always good vibes because at Baruch too. So Baruch is a more like diverse school, but not necessarily like towards like Black individuals, for example. It's the vast population is Asian students, followed by like Caucasian students. So in that way, I feel like for us in MLT, we kind of got to know each other really early on because like in our classes, we would notice, oh, like I'm in my class with, Shamar, for example. So like just throughout the years, built out those connections, and it's always positive vibes. Like those guys are honestly like some of the best people I've ever met, where they're always just like supporting me and like anything I bring up. And it's honestly just so good to like just know you have people you can like truly rely on to like just uplift you.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. That's huge, bro. Like, that's so huge. Like, for me too, just having those people that can uplift you, like people, you feel a sense of relatability to and, similar goals. So that's what's up, bro. So, all right, fam, this has been fun. I appreciate you going into depth. I hope someone out there, gains value from your story, the things you've overcame and the things you've done to land roles in competitive spaces like Goldman Sachs, you know what I mean? And the goals you have for financial literacy and opening up a school in Haiti. Like, mad respect to you, bro. This has been fun.
Don't be such a smart aleck.